Hi Libra, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your October 1st to the 15th, 2021 reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Libra, October 1st to the 15th, 2021, Libra. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels. Oh goodness. And spirit guides. There we go. Got it. All right. So at the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. We have Strength, which is Leo energy coming through. And we have the Mystic, which is the High Priestess energy. If we have Leo within our natal chart, that's going to be coming through very powerfully at our root. In our inner self, we have the Ace of Fire. We have this gift from God, Source, Spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, of passion and of, tenacity and going for it and the things that just really set our hearts aflame. We have the Ancestors, which is the equivalent to the Lovers in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. That's Gemini energy. And there's a sense of connecting with those that we love and those that have come before us, and also just a sense of being part of the collective, being part of more than just ourselves. And that's actually going to be something, Libra, that when we get annoyed or times get hard or things get overwhelming, that's going to be something that's really beautiful for us. In our hearts, we have the Five of Swords. We're facing something that we've been through before. We don't really want to face it again, but and it comes from the past most definitely. But we are going to be victorious, which is going to be just really, really nice. We're not going to be held back the way that we thought we would be. It moves us to the Queen of Pentacles, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. If we have Earth sign energy within our natal chart, that's coming through very powerfully in our public self, but there's also the sense with the Strength card coming through again, so we have a double Leo here. There is this sense of being very practical during this time. From the 1st to the 15th, we're looking at things and saying, okay, how do I align myself to make the best choices? How do I open up the doors to get me to the place that I want to be? And that's going to be something very powerful for us. Now, I want to let you know, as a total side note, if you hear any snoring or somebody chewing on a bone, that would be Esme in the background, my dog. So don't pay her any mind. Okay. So let's see the energy we have to be mindful of. Angels and spirit guides. Justice. And you've just popped right out. Now you're represented, Libra, by the Justice in the Major Arcana, by the Swords in the Minor Arcana. What it's what's coming through is that we can tend to be just a little bit too fair. And that doesn't sound like a bad thing. That never sounds like anything we have to be mindful of. But we can be. We can kind of put ourselves out there and put ourselves out in the hopes of being fair and just. And maybe even, we could extend this to being kind and doing everything for everybody else. And this is going to be a time where we have to really kind of put the line in the sand and say, you know what, I need to do this, I don't need to do that. I need to take care of this, I don't need to take care of that right now. And make really clear decisions during this time. We're going to have a tendency to get in our own way. We're also going to have a tendency to have things be very black and white. White page, black print, this is what's printed out, this is what has to be. There are no exceptions. We're also going to be very drawn to people who are like that. We can be a little bit too rigid and surround ourselves with people who just have that rigidity to them. So do be mindful. We need to have an ebb and a flow and a grace and kind of be more like the wind during this time. Our chakra energy, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides, is clarity. It's the third eye chakra. Now, the third eye chakra plays a pretty big part in these 15 days. But what we have here is we have the sense of clarity, of insight, and of ideas coming forward. We have the sense of the door opening, and we're going to see things a lot more clearly than we have before. And we're going to say that. It's like, wow, that became clearer. Oh, wow, I never looked at it that way. And this is going to really empower us. This is going to embolden us. This is going to help us move forward in the way that we want to be and to the place that we want to be. So clarity is going to come in, and this is a time where we have to listen. We have to listen to our intuition, to ourselves, to what we desire. Now, we're doing something a little bit different during this reading. We're incorporating the astrology along with the tarot. So let's go through the astrology from the 1st of October to the 15th of October. Now, on the 1st of October, we set off October with this really intense energy of Mercury squared Pluto. Now, Mercury squared Pluto, if you remember from the full moon reading, this is a time where we dive really deep into everything. We don't want surface value. We want, the nitty and the gritty. We want, before we purchase anything, we're going to be watching reviews about it. Before we make any decisions, we're going to be researching the heck out of it. We just find ourselves going deep into everything, which can make us make very smart decisions, very wise for our wallets, but it can also lead us to saying, well, it's only a little bit more and it's better, or it's this or it's that, and we can kind of get ourselves in sticky situations during this time. Also, we can just tend to fall down the rabbit hole. We can tend to overwatch, especially murder mysteries, true crime, horror films. There's going to be an allure of that around us during this time. I don't know why that is, and why Spirit is making that abundantly clear, especially for you, Libra. There's going to be an allure just from the justice angle of it. It's like you're going to want to see justice done, and when it's not done, if you're watching true crime, let's say, and you're watching it on YouTube, and it starts off really rather, benign, really kind of like just skimming the surface of things, you're going to find that the algorithm starts to change, and you go deeper and you go deeper and you go deeper, and it's going to change your energy. It's going to start to haunt you. All right. So just be really mindful of this during this time. Step back, make sure that you're not going so deeply down the rabbit hole that it becomes harmful to your energy vibration. Do things that connect you to the earth. Do things that connect you to your joy and to laughter and to brilliance. Now, on the 2nd of October, Venus is going to be sextile Pluto. Now, we become astoundingly passionate about everything. This is a time where we want to share what we love with everyone. Our hobbies and people that we adore. It's just going to be a time where we want to surround ourselves with love. Now, we can feel things very deeply during this time. We can be a little bit too intense with ourselves, so we have to be kinder to ourselves, and we have to watch how deeply we dive into things, or the expectations that everybody's going to love what we love. So just be mindful of that. On the 3rd of October, Mercury is going to be trine Jupiter. This brings a wider viewpoint. This brings a very fun energy of seeing different point of views. This is when we really start to connect with that ancestral energy. Also, on the 1st of October, we can really get into kind of ancestral energy, looking into the ancestral energy of our own family line, or just of people in general. We will tend to go and be drawn, I don't know why this is, but be drawn towards the darker side of things, and just kind of, let that energy really eat at us. So do be mindful of that, because the ancestral energy here, Spirit is saying, it's supposed to uplift, it's supposed to inspire, it's not supposed to drag us down. right? Now, with Mercury trine Jupiter on the 3rd of October, this is a great time for planning for our future. This is a great time of looking at things and just having this smooth kind of, how does this help me? How does this move me forward? Where is it that I really want to be? On the 6th of October, the new moon is going to be in Libra, so that's a very powerful time for us. I'm going to be doing a separate video just on that, so do stay tuned for that. But Pluto is also going to be going direct. This makes this day very intense. It's going to already be intense for us because it is, the new moon in Libra, because it is our sign. And if we are sensitive, just sensitive individuals, we will find that Pluto going direct has a bigger impact on us for days, if not weeks to come. Now, Pluto coming out of retrograde has us leaving behind this sense of fear of letting things go, this sense of fear over relinquishing control. Now, because we've held on to this control so intensely, we can find that we actually feel like we're letting go of something super important, or we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. So by releasing this constraint around us, there we go, we start to feel more ambitious, more focused on what we desire. And we start to have this need for empowerment and for exploration and for, oh, excuse me, and for opening up the door. I'm just going to take a sip of water. I do apologize for that. On the 7th of October, we have Venus moving into Sagittarius energy. So Venus moving into Sagittarius energy, this brings a live and let live kind of vibe to us. And we see that in the celebration. Now, with the Pluto going direct, we have this really impacting our hearts. This hits us emotionally. Now, on the 7th of October, we will find that there's a live and let live attitude to us, but there's also this sense of don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. I know what it is that I desire. I know what it is that I need. Leave me alone. I'll get it done. If we can take the day off, now I don't know what day the 7th of October is, like what date that falls on, but if we could take that day off, if we could take time just for ourselves, do so. If you can't, if you have too many responsibilities, if you say, even if I take the day off from work, Dane, I'm still going to have 18 million different people need my attention. I totally understand. So just make sure you take it slow. On this day, take it slow and kind of incorporate things that you love into the day, and it'll make it better. On the 8th of October, the sun is conjunct Mars. This brings a hero energy into our being. It's kind of like, I can do anything, I can embrace everything, but we also have a bit of a temper. So do be mindful of that. Everybody is like a conqueror, a hero, but everybody has a bit of a hot temper during this time. So do be mindful. On the 9th of October, Venus meets the moon in Scorpio. Now, what does this mean? This means that the third eye chakra comes out so intensely, we become astoundingly aware, we become astoundingly insightful. It's really, really great for building us up, for having us look at things differently. The gate of creativity, it's called the gate of creativity, it becomes open for us, and now we tend to know. We tend to know what we want to create, how we want to move forward. Now, Mercury is also going to be conjunct Mars during this time. So to add to our air sign energy, we're quick-witted, we're, quick of mind, we're quick of reflex. We can be a little bit sharp-tongued because we're already this to begin with. All right, Libra, we're going to just have to be mindful of this energy coming into play. We're also going to be a bit direct and very, 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 direct to the point, but also very much not in the mood to sugarcoat anything, because we feel like you just need to hear the truth, but everybody feels this way. Everybody feels like, no, you just need to hear it. You just need to hear it as it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat. I'm not going to, take anything away. And this energy with Mercury conjunct Mars, coupled with Venus meets with the moon in Scorpio, it makes us sensitive and yet also very direct. So we're going to have to kind of play with that energy a bit. We're going to take things rather personally. They're not going to be meant personally. This is just going to be a person saying, no, I'm going to say it just plain Jane for you. So do be mindful about that. On the 10th of October, Saturn becomes direct. We become more focused on our responsibilities and getting the job done. All right, we're so down to earth. This really impacts us in the public arena. On the 10th of October, we're like, yeah, I can do this. Yeah, I got this. Yes, I see the way that I can, move forward. I can get things done. I can, embrace what I desire. And it becomes a lot more fun for us. We're also really aware of our limitations, not in a negative way, but in a really healthy way. It's like, okay, well, I'm just not good at that, so I'm going to delegate, or I'm just not, the one for this, so I'm not going to go after it, type of way. We are surrounding ourselves with people who can help amplify us. We're surrounding ourselves with things that we really want and desire and long for. Long-term goals become clear, and we've just become really practical and down to earth. On the 3rd of October, Venus is going to be sextile Saturn. This is a time to be around family and friends and really embrace what we love. Our hearts are so important. We're also going to tend to sacrifice for others, for those that we love, for the sake of our long-term relationships. Now remember, these long-term relationships, they don't just have to be with people. They can also be with work. But what we have to be mindful of is that our sacrifice is being noted and noticed. So if we're sacrificing for, let's say, our work, because I really do see this as the place that we will sacrifice our work, our studies, we'll give up so much for that, and yet we won't feel that it was respected, like that it was seen. So we do have to be mindful there. When we sacrifice, we're going to have to be mindful that we might not be given the acknowledgement that we want, and we have to be okay with that. On the 5th of October, or we have to not be okay with that and not sacrifice the same way. On the 5th of October, it is the best way to end this time. The sun is going to be trine Jupiter. This makes us lucky and generous and happy, and we're just larger than life. Everybody is just shining a bit on the 15th of October. This can also bring intense spiritual awareness, an intense sense of love for sharing of knowledge, an intense sense of wanting to discover and learn more and dive deeper. We are going to see that we can also be a little bit too generous, a little bit too self-indulgent, so do be mindful of this. Strength comes through. It comes through at our root. It comes through in ourselves. We are strong. We are powerful. We are determined. We're looking at things differently. We're also tested during this time. Even though we have all these beautiful blessings, all this beautiful prosperity coming forward, we're being tested sometimes in ways that we don't want to be tested. We're looking at things and we're saying, what do I want? What do I need? When do I need to step back? When do I need to move forward? Our go-to as Lady Justice, okay, as represented by Justice in the major arcana, is going to be to weigh the scales. It's going to be to evaluate situations. It's going to be to cut off what needs to be cut off and to embolden and embody what needs to be emboldened and embodied. What we need to do actually is kind of step back a little bit and say, what is right for me? Where's my strength? Where's my desire? What is it that I want? And people don't have to understand it. We might have the strongest desire to go horseback riding, to find a small little place that, isn't an arm and a leg, and just embrace being one with nature, embrace, something so beautiful. And that can be something that is just everything to us during this time and gives us strength. It doesn't have to mean that anybody else looks at it and says, oh, this is strong, this is powerful, this is beautiful, this is what I want. It matters that it's what we want, and it matters that it balances our soul and our self, and it moves us to the mystic. It moves us to seeing things deeply and powerfully and uniquely and personally, and just being so powerful in ourselves, just being so diving deeper and embracing what we desire and looking at things with openness and honesty of self and of soul, that we open up the door, that we say, yes, this is me, yes, this is where I need to be, yes, this is what I desire, and not being afraid of it. We're also going to be highly connected with the third eye chakra. We're going to have instincts coming into play. We're going to say, well, I had a feeling about this. And then we're going to see that maybe that person wasn't to be trusted, or, we're glad we didn't go on whatever because we had that feeling. Staying true to ourselves is going to be so important. We're also going to see people for who they are, not who they want to be. And that can be disheartening, because we can also have this delusion around people to say, oh, well, they're going to be like this, or, oh, they're going to be like that. And yet when we see who they truly are, when we see, the layers taken back, it's like, oh, you're human. Oh, you're as flawed or as, as human as I am. And that can be upsetting at times, especially if we put a lot of credit into this person. With the Ace of Fire, there is fire and passion and determination and focus that's being forged within us. We're going to see something that is really being cultivated and created. There can be a lot of pressure put on us on this time around something that we're very passionate about, around something that we thought maybe this was our road, this was our path, and the pressure is being put on and we're reconsidering it. It doesn't mean that our path was wrong. It means that we're reconsidering how we're moving forward and what we desire, and that's what life is about. Life is about figuring out what we don't want. I firmly believe, and have since I was very, very little, that life isn't about knowing exactly what you want and who you are. Maybe we do when we're super, super, super small. But when the world starts coming into play, when we start kind of changing ourselves to please others, and we do this at a very young age, around like 1, 2, we can see ourselves starting, you can see children starting to say, oh, well, this parent wants this, or this caregiver wants this. This is what I'll give them to get their attention, to get my needs met. So we start changing. And as we start changing, we will start to say, this is what I should be. And here we're going to have what we should be forged against what we are. And this is going to be a time where we kind of step out of a mold, or we see the iron crack and say, well, I have to start this again. I can't have a sword that is broken. We are air sign energies. We need to have the weapons forged correctly, the weapon of mind and of tongue and of, verse of self and of greater understanding and the intake of air and breath. And it leads us to our ancestors. It leads us to a greater connection. It leads us to our line of incarnation. If we believe in this, if we don't believe in this, then it's the line of humanity. It's the history of humanity. It's the fact that, we tend to repeat ourselves. We're not that different than our ancestors. And yet we want to believe that we are. And there's Esme snoring in the background. So here there is a sense of fire and of instinct and of greater desire to what we want and who we are and where we're headed. And also the sense of I'm connected to more. There is more here to me than meets the eye. And as there is more to me than meets the eye, there is a greater sense of deep understanding of self, of rooting of our desires, of opening of our hearts and our dreams and our wishes. And it brings us with this ancestral connection, also this past life connection. It brings us to the 5 of Swords. It brings us to having to face something that we have faced before. Now, this could be in a past life. This could be part of our generational line. This could be something where we face this, or our ancestral line faced this, and we're thinking, why does this impact me so much? Why do I find this so hard? Again, it comes from childhood. It comes from generational. It's like a curse. A curse is nothing more than negativity spoken over us and passed down. Negativity that we believed. Hurt, pain, disappointment that we believed, passed down from one caregiver to the next. And now we're going to see ourselves shattering it. We're going to see ourselves looking at things and saying, why did I believe this was true? Why did I take this as gospel? It's not. Now I get to be more. Now I get to embrace my ideas and what I desire, because we're moving forward in victory. Also, the repeat of the number 6 at the heart, it's like I get to celebrate me. I get to celebrate me and rejoice in who I am and love what I do. I get to be kind and nourishing to my heart, my soul, myself. It happens because the third eye is opening. It happens because we're seeing things differently. We're embracing ourselves in a way that we didn't think we could. We didn't think we could walk this path. We thought that it was barred to us. It wasn't part of our just world. And now we're starting to say, but that just world starts with me being just to me, remembering my roots, remembering what I desire, remembering the planting of myself. And again, it's not losing ourselves, because sometimes we can. And we can absolutely lose ourselves in our history in saying, but this is what, we suffered. This is the hurt that we had to go through. This is the pain that we went through. And that can become our whole identity. Our ancestry line here is saying, these are the roots that I'm planting myself in. This is the memory. This is the honor that I'm coming to this situation in. And I'm building myself stronger and better and more vibrant and more beautiful than anybody could ever have expected. And as I soar, I become. And it leads us to prosperity. It leads us to this place with the Queen of Pentacles saying wealth and bounty, nurture it. Nobody's going to nurture it for you. This is a time, Libra, where we have to nurture it ourselves, or else we will find it slipping away. It will almost be like dust on the wind, We'll see it for a moment and then it'll be gone. Nurture what it is that you desire. Nurture the seeds that you are planting. Nurture the hopes that you have. Nurture what is prosperous to you. People will start to see you as prosperous. Even if you only have 2 pennies to rub together, there's going to be something about you that says, I'm made for better. I'm made for bigger things. I'm made for more. There's a part of me that is like coming out of this shell and stepping into what I have dreamed. And it brings us to strength. Again, strength, we always think that it is bodybuilding, the bigger, the better sort of strength. It is strength of character. It is strength of will. It is strength of determination and focus and insight and ideas. And we're seeing that door open. We're seeing ourselves open. We're being strong because our hearts are strong. We're being, guarded because we're guarding others and we're guarding ourselves. And this isn't a sense of the hoarding, oh my gosh, I might be hurt type of guarding. This is the sense of there is beauty and there is power and there is intensity here. And I'm guarding what my heart loves because there is powerful brilliance within me. Now, our subconscious energy to be mindful of is the King of Pentacles. Again, we can be drawn to people who are just hyper-focused on success. And success to them equates to dollar amounts. It equates to what you can possess and have, and the bigger, the better. This is going to be a time where we step back and say, no, I don't want that. I want something powerful and beautiful for me. We can be very, very, very concerned with money. We have to make sure that money isn't our only goal. And believe me, I know money is important. We need to be able to pay the bills. We need to be able to put food on the table. That all is astoundingly important. But we also need to be able to not have our own worth, summed up in dollars. We just need that. Because that becomes very depressing, especially if we're not where we want to be quite yet. And we're looking at it and we're thinking, well, when the heck am I going to get there? We look at our age, we look at, what other people have achieved, and we think, wow, they're safe, they're secure, they're everything, and I'm still struggling. Here's the thing. You never know the struggles that go on behind closed doors. And you never know what they have to pay for that facade of security. Okay? So just be mindful of that. It moves us to our subconscious chakra energy. It's communication. We need to communicate with ourselves through our throat chakra what we want. We need to speak it into existence. This is a time of manifestation. And I know people roll their eyes and say, Dane, it doesn't work. You visualize, it doesn't happen. But visualization is one step of it. And the reason why visualization is so important is because the mind doesn't know the difference between make-believe and reality, which is terrifying if you think about it. But when we imagine, when we communicate with ourselves what we want, when we communicate with divinity and our angels and our spirit guides, and we say, this is how I want to walk. Now, we don't get it exactly right. We might not get the path down. But when we visualize our success, we start to take those neurons, that thought pathway within our mind, and we start to pave the way to say, yes, I can do this. Because our mind doesn't realize that we haven't. Our mind doesn't realize that we haven't embraced the success that we desire. We haven't, walked that road and put ourselves out there. And so if our minds can believe that we've done it, when we start to do it, it's not as terrifying. It's not as overwhelming. It's like, oh yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. I trained for this. It's kind of like if we want to run a marathon. You just don't all of a sudden start running a marathon. It's like you train for it. You start to run and you start to run and you build up. And you find what's right for you, and you find, the running motions, and you learn the way that your feet need to hit the pavement and everything, and you do so. You build up. And so that's what we're doing here. We're setting the path. We're building our body's resilience and strength so that we can embrace where we need to be and what we desire. We can embrace the marathon that we are running, the goals that we're heading towards. It moves us then to our subconscious rooted self. And it's the Hangman. At our roots, we're not seeing things the same way as everybody else. And we're going to think, oh, well, that's bad. That's bad. I'm not doing this right. And the fact of the matter is, it's not bad at all. We are doing it right. There's power and there's purpose and there's insight and there's ideas here. And just because we're not conforming, and just because we're not fitting into a certain box, does not mean that we're wrong. And we're going to think, oh, because I'm not seeing it the way everybody else is seeing it, I have to be wrong. And that's not going to be the case at all. It moves us then to our subconscious inner self. And this is the council of all beings. Now, this is the equivalent of judgment in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. This is the sense of being connected to something more that comes through very powerfully within our ancestors. The judgment of the council of all beings. We can actually feel like we're being judged by every single aspects of the earth's creations and the beings that dwell here. That's not necessarily the case. We're being connected, and we're feeling that connection. And that connection is powerful and meaningful to us. And so we need to harness that and use that in the appropriate way for us to be able to soar forward, for us to be able to make the connections that we want to get to the place that we need to be. It moves us then to our subconscious emotional self. And it is the Wheel of Fortune. Emotionally, we feel this change of season coming in. We feel like we're on this roller coaster ride. We think, wow, am I heading in the right direction? I feel that nothing is quite as stable as it was before. Emotionally, we're going through a change. We're coming to the end of one cycle. We're entering into a beginning of another. We're seeing ourselves differently. We're seeing what we desire differently. We're opening up the doors in a very powerful way. That takes change, and that also takes, kind of stepping out of our comfort zone. And so subconsciously, we know this. Subconsciously, we're opening to it. It moves us then to our subconscious public arena self, and that's the Knight of Pentacles. Knights protect queens. We are protecting the prosperity that we're embracing. We are slowly and steadily moving forward to greatness. And we're letting ourselves embrace that with openness, with honesty, with integrity and determination. We're fighting for what we desire. We're fighting for this place to let ourselves shine. It doesn't mean that we're fighting against anybody. We could be fighting against our own doubts and insecurities and, everything that we've had piled against us and the nasty words that were spoken over us. And we're saying, you know what? No, that's not me. That's not what I'm living for. I'm shining. All right. Okay. All right, Libra. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the beauty that is around us, the ancestral glory that is a part of us. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Libra.